the main thing I'm going to talk about is, and you've all been on the edge of your seats waiting for this one, I'm going to talk about the Callisto Protocol.
And it gets to go on the pod art now.
It does. So, for those of you living under a rock, Callisto Protocol is the new game from Glenn Schofield, the guy who brought us Dead Space. It's from his new studio, Striking Distance, formed originally as part of the PUBG team, and then they became their own thing. It's really weird.
They were going to do a PUBG horror game, weren't they?
Yeah, this was supposed to be a PUBG game, and then it became something else. So, the Callisto Protocol is, according to Wikipedia, a 2022 survival horror action game. Okay, so I have thoughts. I'm going to get the good stuff out of the way first.
Let me just tell the listener as well. Gadget has been waiting for this game all year. So excited for this. Patiently, he's been saying it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. Let's see what his thoughts are.
Okay, so the things I like about it first. This might be the best looking game I've ever played. At times, the lighting engine and the detail in the graphics, the detail in the facial animations, puts God of War to shame. Like, I'm serious. This game is great teeth as well. Beautiful. You up?
They have great teeth as well.
They have great teeth as well. Spectacular facial animations. Like, they are so good. Josh Duhamel plays Jacob Lee really, really well, given the kind of character he's got. All the actors in it do really good work with what they're given. So that includes like Karen. Is it? Oh, what the hell's her surname? Karen Fukuhara and Sam Witwer are the other two kind of bigger stars in this.
Karen Fukuhara from The Boys.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
So the sound design is brilliant. The concept, I love the concept. There are some wonderful moments of presentation, like because the game is set on the moon of Callisto around Jupiter in Black Iron Prison. There are moments where you get to see some wonderful vistas and some wonderful presentations. There are some great reveals, and the music is fantastic. And that's about where the good shit ends, because I'm not happy with this game in the fucking slightest.
Oh, no.
Oh, dear.
So, let's get into it. The description that Wikipedia gives you, survival horror action video game, it's not right, because there is very little survival, there is very little horror. This game is not fucking scary. There's a lot of action in it, and none of it's fucking interesting. This game, I'm going to say, this game isn't a bad game. It isn't a bad game. The problem is, it is an absolutely forgettable, dull as dishwater game. It's not exciting to play the action sequences, and it's not scary to play the horror sequences. It also does not have an original thought in any of its code. Everything is ripped off from everywhere else. So obviously the big thing was that all the comparisons that, this is going to be like the spiritual successor to Dead Space, because it's the Dead Space guys, and like, you know, from the original kind of concept art and all that, we saw that, you know, it takes a few things like the design of Jacob's suit, the fact that he's got his health bar and like a little hologram on the back of his neck, stuff like that. Also, he's fighting kind of zombies in space. That's a Dead Space thing. Problem is, it takes all this stuff from Dead Space and more. It rips off wholesale set pieces from Dead Space. So, for instance, the Halo jump from Dead Space 2, one of the most famous scenes in that game. They do that scene with the whole kind of avoiding shit as you're falling.
That's such a good scene.
It is such a good scene. They rip off The Last of Us, because you get a whole sequence where you go into a deep dark part of the facility where these things have been growing for years and years and years and constantly evolving. And there's been no light, so they're blind, and they clickers, and they use echolocation. But the thing is, where in The Last of Us, it would be a really kind of sculpted experience. You know, you'd walk in, there'd be 2 clickers and a couple of normal infected around, and you had to kind of balance that out. No, what they do here is put 5 of them in a room and say, deal with it. You know, in Resident Evil 4, occasionally when you will pop the head off of a Ganados and like this thing will sprout out and you'll get like a much harder version of it to beat, yeah?
At night time, yeah.
Yeah, and it maybe happens once in, 1 in every 5, 1 in every 10?
Not even that, probably.
But it just happens enough that it keeps you on edge.
Yes, you shit yourself.
There's a point in the story where you get a tooltip basically saying that the enemies can evolve and they can become stronger. You've basically got to attack, like, you'll hit them so much and the tentacles will pop out and you have to destroy the tentacles, otherwise they get stronger. Yeah. From the moment you get that tooltip, it happens to every single fucking enemy.
Oh.
I'm not kidding. It's every enemy does that. So you effectively have to kill them all twice unless you get a crit on them. The combat system does not fucking work. So the combat system is this is more of a brawler than a shooter. You do a lot more melee work than you do gun work.
That's weird.
And the way it works is the enemy comes at you and you get kind of locked into this automatic kind of lock-on system with them. They will swing at you. You have to dodge out the way. Now, it's not like I said this last week, it's not like a FromSoft game where you would press like left and circle to dodge to the left. No, you just hold one side of the stick and Jacob will automatically dodge out the way in the relevant
just
direction.
Hold the stick.
Not necessarily the direction you hold the stick. He will just dodge in the relevant direction. And then to dodge the follow-up swing, just flick the stick to the other side, and he will dodge again. Then you get your opportunity to hit him. It actually specifically says this in the tutorial box that comes up. It says there is no precision window for this. Like, you don't need to time this.
It tells you.
As soon as something is running at you, just hold left, and then it'll come at you, and you will automatically dodge out the way of it.
That's so fucking weird.
Yeah, it's so half-baked. The gunplay is fine. Like, I've got no complaints about the guns. The guns are fine.
They are guns.
They are guns. They shoot things. There's not many of them. The resources that
you not get like cool plasma cutters and stuff like that.
No, they're just guns.
Guns in a prison.
There's one pistol, 2 shotguns, a pulse rifle, and I think a grenade launcher. That's it.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, you do get another rip-off from Dead Space. You get the grip, which is the telekinesis module from Dead Space. But without any of with like half the casting time, half the power of it, you have to really upgrade it to make it useful at all. It is fun to throw enemies into mulches that just happen to be in rooms. Also, this prison would fail all health and safety regulations because they just have these spinning blades in rooms for no fucking good reason. Which I'd
like to see a spin-off game where you're the auditor of that prison.
Well, the thing is, I get why they're there. It's for these cool moments where you pick up an enemy with a grip and hurl them at it, and it instant kills them. Great. The problem is, none of it makes sense as to why it's there. And I think this is the biggest failure with the game, is because the world is so static and boring. The game is linear to a fault. And there's nothing wrong with having a short linear game. The problem is, there is no interactivity in the world. It's almost like it's being taken on a guided tour of this prison. And you're not allowed to touch anything. You can't interact with stuff on desks. Like, if you take a swing at a desk with your nightstick thing, you don't knock shit off it. It doesn't interact. It's just this kind of static set dressing. There's no kind of meaningful exploration. There's no kind of, not really much in the way of hidden items. There's the occasional hidden room with a couple of items in it.
Isn't there a lot of facehuggers as well?
Well, I'm going to get to the enemies in a second because I've got lots of thoughts on them.
God.
Oh yeah, trust me, this goes on. What was on? Yeah, so the world is kind of really static. The space that you're in doesn't make a lot of spatial sense. But also they've done that thing, and God of War is guilty of this one as well. I'm not giving that a pass. So many tight squeezes to go through that hide loading screens. Whether it's kind of you spend a lot of time looking at Jacob's left shoulder. I'm not kidding.
See, I'd prefer that over the. You'd rather just have load screens. I wouldn't.
I'd rather have the crawling through the things as well.
Well, no, I'm not complaining about the concept of it. I'm complaining about the amount of them. So in one of the chapters there, I counted 10 tight squeezes and 5 vents. So
wow,
the levels are long. Don't get me wrong, but they're just not interesting. They're not memorable. Like Dead Space 2 was pretty linear, yeah, but you got a sense of the space in every room, in every area, and like
backtracking, wasn't there? In a
what
good
its
way.
function was for, why it was there, who existed in that place. Everything just felt grounded.
That nursery section in Dead Space 2.
Yeah, I was about to say, is there no memorable moment like the nursery?
No, it's just drab, dark hallways.
What a miss!
And a sewer. If that counts. You get a sewer level. There's always a sewer level.
And does it go, it stinks?
Pretty much, yeah. Very well realised shit kind of like sliding off him as he gets out of the water, but yeah, that's about it.
Pretty shit.
Yeah. Enemies. There are 4 enemy types in the whole game, and 2 bosses. So your enemy types, you've got your bog standard infected, of which there's a couple of different outfit models for them, like prisoner and guard. I think that's about it. There's a one that spits from a distance.
Ooh, are they called spitters?
I don't know what they're called. I haven't cared to look. There is the clicker type ones, and then there are ones which are the kind of 4-legged monster things that kind of run on the ceiling. They remind me of those ones from Dead Space. They were like dogs that would rush you. They like hide behind
things.
Yeah, they'd hide behind things and then like charge you. exactly the same behavior.
Is there no brutish ones, big brutes?
No, there is one boss which is like a brute, which you have to face multiple times.
Why?
Because story. And then there is the final boss, which is the most god-awful boss that anyone has ever encountered in a game. I'm not going to spoil him for you, but trust me, when you get to him, he's fucking awful.
He said he, everybody. It's a he.
The problem is this game is just such a fucking letdown. It is so forgettable. The story doesn't turn up until the end of chapter 5, and there's only 8 chapters in the game.
Oh, that's not good.
It's not good. The actors do brilliantly with what they've got. The graphics are incredible, but the game is just criminally dull. It under-delivers on everything that it promises. You only see Sam Witwer maybe 4 times in the whole game, and he's the best
criminal.
And he's the best thing in it.
He's the best thing in the world.
Yeah, it's a massive letdown, especially given that like the kind of pedigree that Glenn Schofield has, and like the people that he brought in either from Visceral Games or from where was he working? Sledgehammer Games when he moved from there. Like, there's a lot of quality here, and there is a lot going up, but the marketing has let it down as well, because the marketing made this out to be much more interesting a game than it is. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, don't pay full price for this game. Like I say, it's not a bad game, but it is the most turgidly forgettable game I've played in a very long time. It is the bangest of bang average.
Do you reckon they rushed it to get it out before Dead Space Remake?
Nope. There's no sign of it being rushed. Functionally, it's fine. They've just done a bad game. They have done poor design decisions and made a pretty boring game. Do you know what it
reminds me of?
There is one chapter that is great. Chapter 5 is fantastic. Chapter 5 makes me feel like that's what they wanted to do for Dead Space 3. Because the stuff it does, because you go outside onto the moon, and it's kind of creepy, and there's some really cool set piece moments. But the rest of it is all fucking jump scares, and not in the good way. Like, I died so many times where you just open a door and there's an enemy behind it that just launches out and smacks you, and you don't have a chance to react to it. There are these enemies in like kind of face hugger pods, and they have this kind of head on an elasticated tentacle thing, and it just whips out and grabs you. You have a quick time event to get out of it, but it does damage to you. But these things happen, you don't see them because they're all in shadow. If you know they're there, you can shoot them and stop them doing that. But every time you walk in a room, just this thing whips out and gets you, and you can't react to it. It's poor design.
Do you know what it reminds me of, mate? You'll remember this. It reminds me of those tech demo games that come out like Heavenly Sword.
It's very much
Even
like
though
that.
PS5 and Xbox doesn't need a tech demo at this point in its life.
Yeah.
It feels like them little... You know what I mean, don't you? They bring those out like Lair. Remember Lair?
I remember Lair,
tech demo.
This has got definitely for the, like, let's say the video game engine is fantastic. It looks incredible, but the actual game in there is just poor. And it's
what would you stamp a number on it? What would you say out of 10?
Probably say a 4 or a 5. Like, it's smack bang in the middle. It's to the point where I would say average. Pick it up if you can get it for a tenner.
Can you lend it me?
I'll lend it to you. I'll send it down to you. I'll let you
send it down to me because I'm going to stream it on hardest difficulty.
You'll get pissed off. I was playing on normal difficulty for about the first half of the game, and then I got to the point where I was just dying over and over again to this one enemy. I was just like, fuck it, and I put it down to easy just to get past it, and it's just, even then, it's not interesting.
You don't understand my resolve, mate. I will play it on hardest difficulty.
I'll send it down to you, and we'll see how you get on with it.
We'll get some content out of it at least. So it won't be a massive waste of money.
Yeah.